Hi, Alexios.
Hi, Bubba. Hi, loves. So welcome back to my channel. And this is episode 2 of my NICU series. So if you haven't saw episode 1, definitely go back and watch it. And if you're new here, I am a mom of a 25-weeker. We spent 376 days in the NICU. So we definitely had a tough journey. And today's topic, I wanted to talk about holding my baby for the very first time. This is a really hard topic for me to discuss because it took me a while to get to the point where I was able to hold him for the first time. So that was just like a lot for me to deal with. Um, I didn't get to hold him for his first 6 weeks of life. And during this time, I was able to hold his hand, which was nice to be able to have some way to connect to him, I guess. But like when you first like have a baby, you just expect the entire experience to be completely different, right? Like you expect to be able to just pick up your baby when you want to, and to be constantly told that you're not able to because of this reason or that reason. It's just really tough to like process. And it just took us a while to get there. The reason I couldn't hold for the first 6 weeks is because he was on a high frequency ventilator. And when the baby is on that ventilator, they typically don't want mom to hold because the ventilator vibrates the entire time. So it's easy for the tube to come out, and also it's just not comfortable for a mom to hold. This is at least what I was told. So I didn't get to hold him because he was on that ventilator, and it took him a while to get to the conventional ventilator, which that ventilator you're able to hold your baby. And when we finally got to that ventilator, I remember I think the nurse like specifically waited until like I got there to tell me. I don't think she wanted to tell me when I called to check in on the baby. Just because I think she just didn't want to get my hopes up if it didn't happen. So I remember like just going to visit him, and she told me, she was like, well, we're gonna hold today. And I'm like, what? She was like, yes, he got to the conventional ventilator because we were waiting. Like I asked a lot of questions when we were in the NICU, so I kind of knew the steps we needed to get to for me to be able to hold. So I was like anticipating this. As the nurses were getting ready to place him on me, I was super nervous. I was nervous because he had so many wires and he was so little. I think by the time I got to hold him, he probably, because he was born at 1 pound 12 ounces. So I think at this point he might have been like 2 pounds, 2 to 3 pounds. And he was so little, so I was like just so nervous to like hold him. I just know that like I was so emotional. Like I was crying because I finally got to hold him after waiting for so long. And yeah, when I felt his like body against my body, it just felt like just so natural. It felt good. It felt like this is how it's supposed to be, when you're having a baby. And this is just really hard for me to talk about because it just brings me back to like being in those moments, and like yeah. So I got to hold him. It felt so good. Like I didn't want to do anything wrong because they did prepare me that like sometimes a tube can come out, and I feel like that made me nervous as well because I'm like, I don't want the tube to come out like while I'm holding. I didn't want anything to go wrong during this. So I had that in the back of my mind, but of course I was enjoying just like his heart beating, just hearing, like feeling his heart beating on my chest. Like I really enjoyed that moment, and I was able to hold him for 3 hours. Honestly, it was one of the most special moments that I've experienced in the NICU. I waited so long for that moment. So I was going to treasure it. It felt good. Like I said, I just like, for those 3 hours, time slowed down, and it was just me and my baby, and that was it. Forget the wires, forget everything else. It was just me and him in that moment. But unfortunately, the next day he went back on the high frequency ventilator, and I wasn't able to hold him for 9 weeks. That The first 6 weeks was hard, but those 9 weeks, after getting the feeling of holding him for the first time, I felt so good, and I felt like, wow, we were finally making progress, and I was finally going to be able to hold him and just go in and, the next day and be able to hold him, and that was it. And I just thought that we were just going to continue forward at that point, and that's not what happened. That's one thing in the NICU, is that you take a step forward and there's like 3 steps back. And in that moment, I guess it was just our 3 steps back, and he went back on a high frequency ventilator. He actually started to decline a little bit. He started to need more respiratory support. So we had to transfer hospitals, and I didn't get to hold him at this point now for 9 weeks. And I remember just crying to the doctors because I just felt like I needed to be able to have this connection with my baby. Holding his finger just wasn't enough for me. I did get to a point where I was able to at least hold him up while the nurses like changed his bedding. So like that was cool, because I just love that the NICU nurses, like, they're just gonna figure it out. They're gonna help you. They're gonna try to make the best of your situation. So I just remember a nurse just saying like, hey mom, do you want to just like hold him up while we change him? And I'm like, yes. Like, I started to look forward to even just doing that. Just being able to feel him in my hands just felt so amazing. And so I remember like meeting with the doctors and just saying like, I need this connection. At this point, I was losing my milk supply because I was pumping for him. I was able at that point to feed him exclusively breast milk, but I started to lose my supply. And I was like, I really just need to hold him. And it took for a doctor to like basically go against the team, because I wasn't supposed to hold while he was on the high frequency ventilator. She knew how important it was for me to have that, and I'm forever thankful for this doctor. And I was able to hold him for 20 minutes. At this point, they everyone was on board because again, I'm holding him on this high frequency ventilator, so I'm surrounded by everyone. Honestly, being able to hold him even just for 20 minutes just meant everything for me. I am forever thankful for that doctor who was there to speak up for me. I'm happy that I was able to speak up for myself in that moment and just say what I needed. And because I spoke up and I advocated for myself, I was able to hold him. And that was the best 20 minutes of my life. And honestly, like, the first time that I held him was different. I felt like 3 hours like went by quick. But these like 20 minutes, I felt like I was taking in every second of the 20 minutes. Like, it meant so much to me. That 20 minutes felt like forever. I felt like I just was very present in the moment. I just remember like closing my eyes, just like, yes, Lord, like, thank God I'm able to hold my baby. And that was just the best feeling of my life. Looking back, those moments meant the world to me. And even though I didn't get to hold him as much as I wanted to, and I held on to those moments so deeply. If you are a mom that has yet to have that moment to hold your baby for the first time, just know that your time is coming. And if you have experienced this before, having to wait to hold your baby and finally that feeling of getting to hold them the first time, then you know how special those moments are. Thank you guys so much for being here, for listening to my story. I will see you guys in my next episode. Bye.